All right, Nick. It's been a couple weeks since we talked. Hell, maybe even a couple months since we talked
Mhm.
LAFC. The season ended a little early in the playoffs. Earlier than most people thought. Steve Shrundle left after the 2025 season, and they have a replacement. And we haven't even talked about this. There's a
Yeah.
lot to talk about tonight, right? It's been kind of a disaster for LAFC, but we'll go from one disaster to another. We're not going to dive into everything at one time. We'll
Mm,
start with the first thing.
mm.
Marc Dos Santos, the
Yeah.
assistant for LAFC the last couple years,
Yeah.
has been given the head job at LAFC. What was your initial reaction when you heard that Marc Dos Santos is going to be the new manager?
Um, Disappointment. And I'll tell you why. It's not because I mean, look, we have high expectations for LAFC, no doubt, right? But I believe that most LAFC fans would have preferred it to been last year. If you knew you were going to take one of these coaches, let's just say if it would have been Rozov or Mark, then bring him in when Steve had already said, "Hey, I'm not going to be here for the following year, whatever," right? Because he did that so early. It would have been great to have one of them guys come in then, seeing what happened, and then assess the situation and maybe go after someone of a bigger name or not, depending on how the year went. So that's where a lot of the frustration came, especially for LAFC fans. Because look, if you watch his interviews,
Hey, if you're enjoying the video, make sure you give it a like down below and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Guys, we are getting closer and closer to 12,000 subscribers. And with your help, I know we will reach that goal. So make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and hit that little bell notification so you never miss any of our videos. Now, back to the video.
he says a lot of the things that you as fans want to hear him say. He does, honestly. We're bringing in the culture of, we're going to use a little bit of what Bob Bradley did. We're going to attack. We're going to high press. All these things sound great in theory. And yes, we have to wait to see how he implements these and makes it part of the culture again, because we got really away from that. But again, if JT knew that this was the route that he was going to go, why not do it last year? You know what I mean, Will? Because what if this falls short? Now you've had 2 years of falling short.
No, I agree. So, Steve Shrundle, I want to say, announced he was going to leave at the end of the year in
Yep.
either late April or early May, if I'm not mistaken. It was really pretty early in the season.
It was almost even like he did it during the preseasons of last year, almost, Will. That's how late it was, to be fair, to your point.
Yeah, so it was really early in the season, and kind of everybody's like, okay, well, why is he even staying? If he's just gonna kind of like what you just said, why is he
Yeah.
even staying? If he knows he's leaving, then where's his mind at? What's his ambition? Like, what is he thinking? Is he even gonna be all the way committed? So that was the first thing. So he kind of just lingered around and stayed on until the end of the season. Disappointed, obviously, a lot of issues, which we'll talk about later with the team. But Marc Dos Santos, they said, I think maybe it was John said this, or maybe it was a club statement, that they were going to cast a wide net search for the
Yeah.
next manager for the LAFC. They had at least 7 months, maybe 8 months to find this guy. And
Yeah.
little did we know he was sitting on the left side of Steve Shrundle on the bench the entire time. And you could even make an argument they hired the worst of the two assistant coaches on the team to be the next manager that was on the team. Like, Rozov might have been a better option just because we've never got to see him be a manager. So he's kind of unknown. But either way, it just feels like a slap in the face, Nick, to LAFC fans that you were told that you're going to get a wide search for a coach and you hire the assistant to a failure.
Yeah, and now Rozov isn't even on the coaching staff anymore. A guy that's been with us from the very beginning, and look, let's just be honest about this all the way around. Had it been Rozov, we'd be having the same conversation. You know what I mean? Like, all LAFC fans would have been fine with either or last year, and that is the truth. That really is the truth, Will. And to your point a minute ago, like, he did it so late or so early of that preseason. You're like, why would they do this now? And why is he staying? Bring in one of those guys. And last year, if you go back and you look at all the shows that everyone did, they're literally saying it. Why not bring in one of the other guys? Who cares at this point? Steve is checked out. But for us to have a disappointing year, and I'm going to call it a disappointing year, now we have a chance of having a back-to-back disappointing year. Like this year, hardware has to be won, no matter what. And if hardware isn't won, heads need to be spun around, and we need a full overhaul. And I might get a lot of slack about that from the LAFC fans, but I truly believe that. We are a team that is supposed to set the standards, and we're not by any shape, form. And it's disappointing that you could have a coach there that says, hey, I'm not going to be here, but yet he spends the whole entire season with us. I don't know any other league that would actually put up with that. And then, at the beginning of the season, if we're fair, we were horrible. We didn't turn good until we got an absolute icon on the team. And then we started really making moves and doing things. And then again, you fall short in the playoffs, which is unacceptable. And so, yeah, I would have liked to seen it last year with either one of those guys. This year, I would have liked the big name that you were talking about we were searching for. And that's what I believe the majority of LAFC fans were hoping for. Most won't admit it, but that's what we were hoping for.
Well, another thing too is that, we haven't even mentioned, Son Heung-min was signed last year, and he changed the club in every way you could possibly imagine, in a good way, right? And it just feels like when you have an important player like him, who is an icon, who does have name recognition, who people get excited about to watch, you probably could have had so many better, no, not probably, you would have had so many better options to hire as a manager. And then you factor in Los Angeles. You're tying those two things in together. I'm telling you, Nick, I don't think the team could have made a more underwhelming hire. And what really frustrates me, and we'll get more into this when we talk about the roster building, because that's an absolute disaster too. But yeah, exactly. What's disappointing to me, and I'm just a neutral, right? But I see the potential and what they are missing out as far as potential, and just thinking that Son Heung-min is 33 years old. He'll be 34 years old this year in 2026. And it feels like they're wasting him in a precious year of his talents with a coach who is not qualified to be the leader of this team. And they could have had much better options, much better coaches, and even went in a new direction. Hell, Wilfried Nancy is available right now. Now, obviously, we're not going to get into his stint with Celtic, but we know he's proven at MLS. But there's just so many better options than what they have hired. And this is a joke. John Thornton didn't hire or cast a wide net search. He just hired his friend.
Yeah, he hired the yes man. It is what it is. He hired the yes man. I mean, look, Will, you and I talked about it. You talked about Wilfred. It would have been a great hire. Even now, it could have been cool. I wish they would have maybe said, hey, look, sorry, we're going this way, and grabbed him up and whatever. But they had a chance at Tata to come in, and a lot. There was a up and down on that, the whole thing and everything. But we're learning, and Will, it's hard for me, man, because I am a JT fan. I am a John Thornton fan, and I have been a John Thornton fan. Lucky enough to had him on Voices of the Black and Gold at one point. I really think a lot of this man, but we are learning that he likes to hire friends and yes men. He doesn't want someone to question. He wants to make sure things are done his way. So, it makes me conflicted. And if I can be honest with you, the confliction is I am a huge fan of his. I like the direction that him and Bob Bradley went. When he spoke about what Dola was going to do, it was all on the same line of what we got from Bob Bradley. And it was going to be just, the same of that, but with, a new manager in there. And we seen that was not the case at all. We no longer was pressing high, making teams uncomfortable, using BMO Stadium as a fortress. We no longer had people scared to play LAFC and tired, just absolute tired at the end of the games that we did with Bob Bradley. So our identity really did change. And we hear it again in this press conference with Mark. We're getting back to that. We're doing this, we're doing that. And it makes you be like, are we? Like, are we? Because, John, we heard that, and you brought in another friend. Okay, so now we're bringing in another guy that will say, yes, John. Okay, John. Yes, John. Okay, John. And so my thing on that is for me, and I would have to say probably for the majority of the VOBG community, and I would hope LAFC fans hold him accountable. Now we have to say, okay, John, if we don't get hardware, the owners and them now have to put your head on the chopping block. You have to be thought about, and there is no, well, we need a year or two to break him in. I disagree with that. I think that if there is no hardware won this season, as much as it pains my heart to say this, Will, I hate to have this come out of my mouth, John has to be on the chopping block.
Well, I want to talk more about John when we talk about the roster moves or lack thereof, like you said, because that is his fingerprints are all over that, right? Mm-hmm. But just to close out Marc Dos Santos, because I want to bring this up too. He's had one other job in Major League Soccer. It was the Vancouver Whitecaps as the head coach. He was the worst coach in Vancouver Whitecap history. The club had been in MLS since 2011. He coached from 18 to 2021. He had a 27% win percentage, 22 wins, 20 draws, 39 losses. That's not the standard I think of when I think of LAFC hiring a reject who failed at another MLS club. His other teams were lower tier USL, even lower NASL, whatever it is. This is the one and only job he's ever had in MLS, and he was the worst coach in the history of the club, Vancouver Whitecaps. And now he's been given the keys to the fortress of LAFC, which is disgusting. And it's a huge issue with Major League Soccer because our coaching is very, very bad. Overall, It's pretty bad.
Yes.
So we'll see. I think that if he doesn't win, I think that if he has a bad season, Nick, just to wrap it up on him, if he has a bad season or they get bounced in the playoffs early or don't look good, I think they got to just cut their losses. No time can be wasted.
I mean, I 100% agree with you. This is going to come off very dramatic. I believe that if we go to where you just said 37 losses, if we're even half of that at the beginning of the season, maybe it will be the first time that we see LAFC change manager mid-season. Like, that's how diehard for me this season actually is. And it's unfortunate that Mark got put in this situation again. And I'm reiterating it. Had it been last year, no one would have been doing this. They would have been like, okay, this didn't work. We're going to now do that big search. But they didn't. And so John has really put him in a position that we as fans are going to demand. We are demanding that we win hardware. We are demanding that we want results. And Will, to make this transition, where we haven't done that this offseason. Where is the backup? Where is the extra firepower? Because I'm not seeing it. Will.
Well, we watched every single game of Son Heung-min's tenure so far with LAFC, and that's when things really started to pick up, right? And I just thought to myself, and anyone watching knew there's no creativity in the midfield.
Yep.
Zero. That was a huge issue, right?
Huge.
And it felt like it was only Son Heung-min and Denny Bwanga doing anything. There was a stretch where they were the only two players scoring on the team, right? So anybody who watched the game and saw what was happening knew, okay, this team needs serious reinforcements in the offseason. They have a lot of issues that two great players covered up, but they can't do it forever. And they start off by rejecting or declining the purchase option on Andrew Morin's deal to make him a U22 And anyone watching LAFC since he came on knew he didn't get enough playing time. For some reason, Dolo didn't like him. He refused to start him, even though when he was on the pitch, he made the most impact, not other than those other two guys. He made the most impact and created the most chances. Okay. So he didn't play him. And B, they declined to buy him. And he goes back to England. And now they've lost the most creative player they had on the team that's not named Denny Bwanga or Son Heung-min. So the one guy they had, they rejected. Okay. And so far, we'll talk more about this. There's a lot to talk about, or not really much to talk about because they're not signing anything. They signed two guys from Nashville SC that Nashville SC didn't even want. They're getting Nashville SC rejects. They get Jacob Schaffelberg, who's injured. He's injured. I don't even know when he's going to play. So they trade for a guy who's injured. He's not going to play. He's got great pace. I actually like him as a player. All right. He's not going to fix any problems, but I like him okay. And then they signed Tyler Boyd, who Nashville SC just weighed and said, we don't want him. You can have him.
We don't want him. We don't want him. They literally say we don't want him. And we got another guy that we don't even know if he's going to play this season. Think about that. And they go and get a player that every LAFC fan was hoping was going to come over to us. Every LAFC player. I don't care who you talk to. We were hoping to get that player from San Jose. And we didn't.
Christian Espinosa.
Yep. Christian Espinosa. We didn't. And Nashville goes and gets him, and we get a guy that, oh, by the way, he's hurt. Yes, I do A, B, and C, you know. You just touched on a lot of things, so I guess I need to go back and talk about it because, you know, it hurts my heart that Morin's gone. I really liked him. I really did. You know, but it shows the insufficiencies of LAFC, right? And I'm even going to go back further because this is actually, and people will still be like, Nick, are you crazy? And I'm not. Dolo did wrong on so many levels, right? We had Giroud who couldn't get a pass over to him. Could not. He leaves. He's the number one scorer where he's at. Okay. You bring Morin in, who we thought was going to be able to do those crosses. Never even got to see them play together. Okay. Imagine if you got to keep Giroud and you had Son there together. Imagine if you got Morin there with Giroud, Son, and Bwanga. You know, I'm just giving ideas, but I'm just saying these are big mistakes. Okay, so all right, you let Giroud go, you bring in Son. Maybe that's the only way that could happen. Done deal. Everybody loves Son. He's an
huge upgrade too. We all know huge upgrade, biggest upgrade you could make.
Yeah. Huge upgrade, right? Yeah. It still would have been nice to have them together, but it's a huge upgrade. But to let Morin go and you don't even give him a chance doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I don't understand it. And you know, we sit here and we talk about it. Oh, the midfield, this, we ain't got nobody that can, you know, we don't have. Oh, hey, let me back up. Atuesta. We brought Atuesta back. Couldn't work in the system. Could not work in Dolo's system at all. So they had to let him go, and he went to Orlando, and what'd he do? He was great.
Had a good season.
Had a great season, right? Ilie. Oh, he's getting too old, whatever. He knows how to control the midfield, you know. So we did not know how to control the midfield at all this last season, at all. At points, you would see Son come all the way back to try to learn to figure out how to facilitate.
Your striker, by the way. This your striker having to play deep to get the attack going.
You know what I mean? And we have a guy in Morin that could have been that guy. And yet, go on and get him out of here. Go on and get him out of here. Even though the coach is leaving, you don't want to try to see what happens with the new guy that you're going to bring back into the Bob-type system. He would have been great for us, Will. He would have been great. And you were on VOBG a lot. You heard Andrew. You heard Tony. You heard me and other LAFC fans say, we love this kid. We want him to be a piece that they work around. They let him go. It is ridiculous. But you keep a person like Timothy Tillman. You keep others.
Marky Delgado.
You keep Tafar. I mean, I know those are back line guys, but you see what I'm saying? You're keeping guys that don't matter. And then you go to Nashville and you get 2 players, one that's hurt and one that they don't even want. When you have someone right down the road in San Diego or San Jose that could have came over and been perfect in our lineup, and Espinoza, it doesn't make sense. LAFC has not done anything in this offseason to impress me. They haven't done anything to get me excited. The only reason I'm excited is because MLS is coming back and LAFC is going to be in the game. But I'm ready for some pain. I'm ready for pain, Will. I'm expecting pain all year long. I am. I'm expecting.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, too, it feels like they're not trying to win. It feels like they're using Son Heung-min is like a circus act where they're just trying to make as much money as they can, and they don't really care about what the results are, which is sad. Everyone who watched the team knew that the 2 biggest issues were the back line was not good, Tafari's bad, Segura's not good, Porteous is okay, I guess, maybe. He's all right, but Tafari and Segura are really bad, really bad. Compared to that, he's not bad, but when you're playing next to bad people, it can sometimes make you look bad because you're having to cover for them. So
I give you that.
He's the best of 3 by far. It's not even close. In
Palencia.
The midfield, who?
Palencia,
yes. I like Palencia, and Smoliakov I think has a lot of upside. I don't think Ryan Hogg said.
I love that kid. I think he's going to be great, but.
There's potential. He's got to play, though. Hollingshead can't keep playing, obviously taking minutes away from him. He's 35 years old. We know what he is. Smoliakov should be the starter. But the midfield is just it is the biggest issue to me because of the attack has just not been what it needs to be because the midfield has no creativity. Everyone's seen it, man. Everyone. And I wanted to touch on this, too. The best player for LAFC in 2024 was one Matty Bogusz, who was sold to Cruz Azul at the end of the 2024 season for something like $9 million. And now he has been made available again. LAFC have a DP spot open. Now, they're not using it apparently for like the 8th year in a row for some reason to begin the season. But they could have signed Matty Bogusz, brought him back, and I could only imagine what he could do because he can play so many different positions. He would definitely help create in the midfield.
So we've seen that. If you remember, we had seen him up front and we had seen him in the middle. And to be fair, most LAFC fans liked him in the middle. It wasn't until he really went on that crazy run that people were like, oh, he has to be up front because we didn't have anyone else that could do it, Will. And Matty took it on. And that's where his stock went way up. You know what I mean? Went way up. And then you have a chance to bring him back to this club. And we're hearing that he's probably going to go to Houston. What? John, again, has a thing about having 3 DPs. First 2 years, we had 3 DPs. We have not had 3 DPs since. For a full season. We have not. And you're not the only one that is worried about what is happening with Son. You and I are fortunate enough that we get to chat on X with a lot of other people. And I know that you have heard people grumbling about in Korea about what they're doing. I've heard about how they're not happy, Will. They're not happy. And you can even elaborate on that more, but they're not because they don't want to see their star player. They don't want to see the icon that he is being wasted. This is crazy. You are supposed to surround this man with better people. I always use it, but it's the truth, and we have to use it. Look at Miami. Messi could not do that all on his own. Yes, he is the best player. He's a GOAT. Great. But he has to have the players around him. And so does Son. So does he. And we're not giving it to him. You put a Bogusz, you put a Bawanga and a Son. Okay, there's 3. I can dig that. I can actually get behind that. Porches is on the back line. I love that guy. You got Palencia. Those are your two bulldogs.
Hugo.
Hold it down. Hugo stayed. Okay, so we got a little bit of, Tafari and Segura, they're crap. But you have those three holding them accountable, right? Back line. Now we have accountability. Let's just say you don't put Matty up front. You put him in the middle. You got some accountability. You got someone that can facilitate, someone that will actually let your guys up front do what they got to do up front. We don't have it, Will. We don't. That's why I tell you, pain all year, pain, and I'm ready for it. I'm getting ready for it. I just got to accept what it is, because unless John does his thing, which we all know he does, he waits to the last minute, Will. But I don't see anything coming in the last minute. And we might come back to this and watch later, and we might be lucky enough to get Matty. I don't hear nothing about it. I don't see it.
No, so I think the deal's it's almost done with Houston. So I think that ship has sailed. This is what one of my Korean fans Korean friends had, messaged me today. I just asked them, talking about the offseason. They said, hey, honestly, I was really looking forward to the new signings in the preseason, but I've been very disappointed with how things have gone so far. I want to believe this isn't the end. From the appointment of the head coach up to now, everything has felt very negative. In particular, I'm truly envious of Miami's aggressive moves. And there is no reason why LAFC can't be doing something similar to what Inter Miami are doing. They have a DP spot open. They could go sign anyone they want in that spot that would be willing to come to LAFC. But John is, we'll wait till the summer to maybe fill it up. The guy is just so washed. He is so bad for this team. And I feel like he has grown to this, and he has this ego now to where he cannot be wrong. Do not question him. He knows how to construct this team, although he has shown year after year since 2022 that they cannot win the big trophy anymore. And Dolo has a lot to do that too, but JT's the one who is building the roster. So I think JT's just become stale, man. I think they need some new blood. I think that they need someone in there with fresh ideas who will push the club forward. JT is way too conservative. What would happen if Son Heung-min hadn't fallen in their lap? What if Son Heung-min had said, I don't want to come there? What would they be doing now?
So the story goes, and it is true, LAFC only has Son because of JT. He said it. He full on said it. He said no at first. JT and him had a conversation. JT talked him into it. And, look, that's a big deal. I'm not going to sit here and say that it's not. I think it is a big deal. But with that, I would think that there were some promises, like we're going to compete. We're going to bring people around you. We're going to make sure that you have supporting cast that can help you out. Guarantee you, Son did not think that he was going to have to go all the way back to the midfield to try to be the facilitator. 100%. And so, yeah, I mean, the comment that you read or the text that you read, I've received a handful of those messages from majority Korean fans. And I probably don't make it any better. I probably pile on and make it even worse, to be honest with you, Will. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it. But I think that there's disappointment all around. And I think that there should be. Because, no, we aren't doing him any favors. We're actually not. We are relying on him more. He got the World Cup coming up. They don't want him to be completely just tired. They don't want him to get hurt because he's being overworked or doesn't have support. You know what I mean? And these are all viable things that could happen. And so, it catches you like, damn, yeah, you should be disappointed because we aren't doing him right. We as LAFC fans love the guy and we are grateful that he's here, but he should have supporting cast around him. He should. And if I'm not quite sure what JT said to change his mind, but I have to wonder, hey, did he get lied to? Like, I would love to know, hey, what did he promise you? What kind of cast did he say? What did he say that we were going to go after? Because if we go back and watch the first 4 games of Son being there, if you remember, Will, 3 were a tie, 1 was a loss, and every single one of them, he said how disappointed he was. Think about that. Every single one of them after the games, I'm disappointed. We should have won. I'm disappointed. I don't like the way that this is. And then it turned around. The team seen that he wasn't going to put up with that. And
He
so
expects wins.
He expects wins. And I would assume he's expecting it this year too. And he has to be looking at him. What have you done for me lately? What have you done to help me out? Because if your fans ain't seeing it, I'm not seeing it, show me, because I want to understand.
Nick, I'm going to ask you one final question to close this out, okay? And I said this earlier, this is the worst offseason the club has had in their history. I don't think it's even close.
I agree.
It's the worst offseason they've had. It's not even close. Yeah. And I want to ask you guys watching us, because I'm sure there's a lot of fired up LAFC, Son Heung-min fans who are disappointed. I want you guys to tell us how disappointed you are in this offseason, and I want you to give me your grade. I'm going to ask Nick. Nick, 1 through 10, how would you grade this offseason by LAFC?
1 is the low, 10's the high, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I'll give it a honestly, I want to say a 0 because I'm not impressed. But I guess I'll give it a 2.
2, yeah. I'm at a 1. I'm at the lowest. The reason why I say it's a 1 because they've absolutely signed no one who's going to make a difference. They hired the worst possible coach they could hire. Yep. They have done. You could make an argument they've made their team worse this offseason, not better.
Yes,
because it might be a -20. Honestly.
I mean, I said 0 at first. Only reason I'm giving anything is because there is a new regime. We got to see how things work out. You got to give him a minute to just see. He doesn't got the whole year for me.
Pressure's on. Pressure's on immediately.
I think at the beginning of this episode, I said maybe at the most 10 to 15 games, I'm already judging. You understand? I'm already judging, Will. I ain't even going to lie to you. And so, that's the only reason I'm giving it a 2. I mean, I think it deserves a 0 because, like you said, we have no one coming in. There is no help. Morin's gone. No help. So I'm not sold on it at all. I hope to be wrong, Will. I really do hope, but I'm ready for it. I'm ready for that pain.
I just hope that all the fans watching this, if Mark Dos Santos is bad, they hold the club accountable.
Yes.
We know in Europe, Wilfried Nazi just won 2 of his 8 games and got fired. Yep. If Marc Dos Santos has anything like that, he's got to go.
Yeah.
He's got to go.
And look, if he does well and he does good, I will be the first one to say, great. I really will. Because he deserves that little chance. Fine. I wish it would have been last season. I will give him a few games, but I want results. And so if it isn't by the time, then we got to call for it. It will be JT out, Mark out. We want to redo. You know what I mean? Like 100%. And we will not hold our tongues, and we will not be sorry about it.
Exactly. So we'll see what happens. Season's right around the corner. They're starting preseason next week, if I'm not mistaken. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this. Let us know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Make sure you like this down below. Subscribe to my channel. Also subscribe to Nick's channel. You'll see at the bottom, it'll show both of our channels because we're doing a collab. Make sure you subscribe to both of our channels. And also hit that little bell notification so you never miss a video. Nick, I appreciate you for coming on, my friend.
Hey, man, I'm glad to be back, Will. Thank you, brother.
Hey, 2026, here we come. Until next time, guys, I'll see you all soon.